Yo, this is Ali Sadiq, and you watching Get Your Geek On podcast with me, baby.
Hi, I'm Brian Brayman, and you're watching the Get Your Geek On podcast.
You are watching the Get Your Geek On podcast with Chuck, Robert, and Anthony.
I'm Dan Cummins, and you are watching the Get Your Geek On podcast.
Hi, I'm Mike Sapsik from AMC's Comic Book Man, and you're watching the Get Your Geek On podcast.
Hello, I'm Oglethorpe, and you're watching the Get Your Geek On podcast.
Hey everybody, it is Chuck E. Watts and Robert Dokes coming to you from the Get Your Geek On podcast with a very special segment. This is a going deep dive on the Unbreakable, Split, and upcoming Glass movies to give you my quick theory. I spent a better part about 6 or 7 hours dissecting these films the other night and came across a couple of themes that I know we're going to play and a secondary storyline that I don't think people are paying enough attention to, and I believe I made a huge revelation about Samuel Jackson's character that I think is going to blow Robert's mind. So, number one thing I want to get into here is I have changed my mind in the belief that Sarah Paulson's character is the real villain of this film. I do believe that she has powers. I do believe she can see some form of the future. The reason I'm going to say that is people forget you don't just have one power in Unbreakable. Bruce Willis is super strong, but he also can see the bad things that people have done. So that would lead me to believe that everyone else has a secondary power. We have not figured out what the Beast is yet, but I believe I've figured out Sarah Paulson's and Mr. Glass's. Mr. Glass's power, I truly believe his secondary power, is he can compel people to tell him things, specifically like the darkest things. It's proven 2 times in Unbreakable to me. Once when he's in a bar with a man that tells him he worked in a building forever and he knows all its secrets, and then immediately, like Elijah goes, secrets? And then the man goes, like, for example, if there was ever a fire on these 3 floors, everyone in that building would die. This is set in the real world. No stranger is ever going to be that. That's not what you would say. I know all the secrets. It'd be like, I know that they leave the vaults unlocked at this and that time. I know that like, you never would be like, you could murder everybody. Number 2, when he falls and winds up in physical therapy and Bruce Willis's wife is his physical therapist, he compels her to tell the story of the accident, of how he got hurt and everything else like that. With it, like, trust me, like, it explains very much, but in Glass, they talk about how they have to keep him very heavily sedated. And, like, there's a reason for that. It's like, yeah, he's too smart for you. And I think it's because he keeps, like, compelling the guards and things like that to do different things for him, which is how I think he gets out. But Sarah Paulson's character, I believe, not only is she unbreakable, her power is to see some form of the future. Because I believe that her character arc is, as a therapist, either a close family member to her or a patient, is where the first time she manifested that power of saw something that was going to happen, saw they were going to die, did nothing. Then it happened, that devastated her, and it happened again, and it set her on that path of, like, am I crazy? Because the theme that I've realized with Unbreakable and Split is who you think is a crazy person with a crazy idea does crazy things to prove that idea. But when that idea turns out to be proven, are they really crazy? And think about Split. What Split basically is a friend to... I have this voice in my head telling me if I kill these 4 white chicks, I'll get superpowers. Then he kills the white chick and gets superpowers. So does that make him crazy? Samuel Jackson is... if there's got to be somebody like me, there's got to be somebody on the opposite. How could I figure that out? I'd have to test it in mass form, otherwise it would take forever. I have to cause these disasters. That makes me crazy blowing up all this stuff, but if in the course of doing that, I prove that there is that person, was it crazy all along? So I believe that she gets put on that arc, so her whole thing is I have to prove that they're real. And the reason why I think that she's actually the real villain is I think she wants to prove they're real, and once they realize they are, she wants to kill them. Whereas Samuel Jackson's whole motivation, which you realize that I didn't get from Unbreakable, he does not want to kill David Dunn at all. His whole thing is, I want to make you the hero. You shouldn't hide in the shadows. You're here to protect us. So I believe, because his thing in the end here is, I want the world to see we exist. So I believe the movie ends with David Dunn killing the Beast, Sarah Paulson killing Samuel L. Jackson. She gets arrested, goes away. The world sees everything, and Bruce Willis's character is forced in the run. Because in a world where it's proven superpowers exist, people are going to come for you on every side of it. So I believe that's how it ends. It sets up the world of this new kid. She winds up in jail, considered like the new madman. Glass is dead, but his vision is fulfilled, that's the thing. They have this mission, and it's ultimately fulfilled at the end of these movies. But I feel like truly that her character arc, the secondary powers, I truly believe are going to be something. But I think McAvoy's character, his secondary power is going to be tied to Hedwig. That personality has the power, because in Split, he tells you he's the one that has the power to who can take the light and the personalities, and he gives it to Patricia and to Patrick because they're the ones that believe in the beast. But I truly believe Hedwig is going to have something to do that, which ties into the girl, because Hedwig and the girl from Split are very close. But keep in mind, the thing is, why I say that like the secondary power with the compelling is this is set in the real world, with the suspension of disbelief that you have to have in movies is gone. So that you have to really look at that. But the reason why I believe that Sarah Paulson's character is, over the course of the trailers I've seen, her tense changes. She has one preview where she says to Bruce Willis, I'll tell you a secret, I want to believe in superheroes. She says to when they're all three together, convince me that you guys are superheroes. But then later in a trailer, after everything's seen, she says, we are not meant to have this much power. There's a very specific thing in Shyamalan movies where he's showing you all along what's there. I was the one that nailed the Bruce Willis twist in Sixth Sense right away. I'm like, he's not talking to anybody else in this movie but the kid. Why would the mom not say something to a therapist dropping her kid off? But like he does, this is Shyamalan. He has very specific themes. So, but also the whole thing is like, I think Hedwig too is along that theme of like, don't underestimate your weakness. But one of the bigger things that I really cracked is I finally figured out why water is Bruce Willis's weakness. It's his body mass is heavier and more intertwined because of the density of his muscles, what makes him unbreakable. So he sinks faster. So sinking, and then on top of that, like the gulping in the water is what makes it his weakness. Because I always thought that was a kind of cop-out, but that's why. It's because he sinks, because he's so much heavier and like body mass-wise. But that stuff was just really, really cool to me. But the other thing that was developed in the deleted scenes is that Bruce Willis, as far as we know, has no limit to his strength. It is what he can physically endure for the pain. Because there's the famous weightlifting scene, but if you watch the extended DVD, in the movie that you see, he puts up about 350 pounds, and like it shows the progression. When you get in the deleted scene movie, he puts up almost 600 pounds, and it's the same effort each way, but it looks like he's just pushed, and it looks like that's going to be shown even more because the doctor in Glass has developed, like, Kevin's cage has the lights, which he travels everywhere, which force the personalities. His cage has the water, and it has this bank vault door. And that's the door that we see him breaking down when Glass is like, you better do this, or else these people are going to die. So it goes to show that his strength, she knows that he has powers at some point because she built all that stuff. So it goes to show that he's extending past the power of what they even knew there. Mm-hmm. So I'm loving the set that you're not going to see like the moment there. But the cooler part that I thought with her character of making her the villain is the premonition thing of seeing a family member die. How crazy would it be if the family member died on the train or on one of Glass's, the plane or something like that?
That's what I was thinking.
So that sets her on the path to him, which sets like that to me is like the ultimate Shyamalan twist. It's like not just that like at the arc and that's what turned her, but it's also them using their position to prove their theory. In Glass, it's the fact that he's a disabled guy that can be overlooked and everything like that, so he can slip in and out and plant these bombs. In Split, he keeps these girls under the ground because he happens to work as a janitor at the zoo, so he knows that like he can get away with it. So Glass, why wouldn't it be that she knows she's a therapist? She can say that she's developing this theory to be able to get carte blanche to investigate people and pull them away, because who else to declare you? Like you've seen how being declared crazy can get you out of crimes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't that be the? But to me, that's the whole theme of like use your position to prove your point. But I do believe that she kills Samuel L. Jackson, not David Dunn. I believe David Dunn kills the Beast, or both of them survive, but they have to go on the run. The world is going to know these people exist at the end of this movie after seeing it, and it's going to be forever changed. So I think he's going to have to run. I think that's the lines of Bruce Willis telling him, like, please don't do this, because you're going to force me out, and like that's the last thing that I want. But the thing that I realized is this is the perfect blend of three DC heroes and villains in a way I've never seen. These three characters blend together, Superman and Lex Luthor, Batman and the Joker, and Eobard Thawne and Barry Allen in ways that you have never seen. Because all three of those characters, well, especially Joker and Reverse Flash, don't want to kill their hero. They need their hero to exist for them to exist. But the mom very clearly explains in Unbreakable there's three types of heroes. There's the hero, the mastermind, and the soldier villain. And so that's who it's said. But it's just such perfect archetypes that I truly, truly believe that this movie is going to be absolutely insane. And I believe that Glass sets up his mom, the girl, and Bruce Willis's son to be there, or the therapist does, because that'll be their motivation to actually fight like all out and reveal their powers, is to protect like the one people they care about. But I do believe that like the reason why she has the three of them too is the therapist thing of like one is coincidence, one is an accident, two is a coincidence, three is a pattern. It's like if I can prove that three individual people on three such wildly different spectrums have powers, then it confirms my theory. So I mean, I know that may seem like a lot of crazy stuff, but I have watched the hell out of these movies lately, and I truly believe that's how it ends, because that's the greatest thing about this. Is the misconception here is that he's some big villain. No, he is twisting his values to convince the Beast to be on his side, to set the Beast against David Dunn. He's using him as a pawn. It's him setting the Beast against him to make Bruce Willis's character have to show beyond belief that he has powers to the world. And then if he dies, who cares? His ultimate vision has been revealed. His whole life's goal has been to prove people with powers exist. And he does that. So that is, like, to me, the Shyamalan twist and like ending that they're developing. But I truly believe the secondary powers are really being overlooked there, because you didn't get one in Split. Like, you didn't overtly see that he had a secondary power, but I believe the compelling thing is Mr. Glasses, because there is no reason in a real world setting where somebody that you just met at a bar would tell you how to mass murder people at the job. If you got fired from BevCam today and you were at the bar, you'd be like, I know all that place's secrets. I can tell you how to kill all those kids in 10 minutes. Like, no, that's not the first thing you go to. It's like, I know where you could get the equipment. I know where you could, like, just... That's not where your mind goes to. But if there's somebody that's like, tell me the darkest secret there, like subtly compelling you something. But the bigger thing is the wife. Like, him getting the wife to tell the story and watching how it happens in the scene. It's literally like he just gets inside her head.
Yeah, that's a very interesting. Now I think back to that movie,
and I don't think he realizes he has that in Unbreakable. I don't think he knows he has. I think over the course of the 18 years in the hospital, he develops it, and that's why they medicate him and shit like that somewhere. I truly believe that that's the reason they medicate. He is a dude that you could flick over. You could literally flick him over, and like, he's not an escape risk. He's clearly getting in the heads of the people there. How could he get in the heads of the people there? He can't do any research. He has no info on their families or anything like that. There's no world for him to be able to set up, or like, it has to be that power. And that makes sense that if you look at him, he has this incredible physical power and this incredible psychometric power. Like, it would make sense that he has this incredible physical weakness. Why wouldn't he have this incredible mental power? Like, it's the dichotomy. Like, but there is two, like, that is a very big deal. But the bigger thing to me is not only is that Bruce Willis's power, the therapist knows about it, because he has the line, which I didn't even think of. I thought it was a throwaway line, where he looks at the therapist, he goes, so you're not just going to shake my hand and let me walk out of here? She looks at him and she goes like this, very clever, as in, I'm not going to shake your hand so that you can try to get a read off me to see the bad things that I've done. Like, she knows that if he touches her, he'll see the plan. Yeah, like, for somebody that doesn't believe they have powers, but has mapped out all of their powers exactly, like, that to me, that completely reshaped that scene, because it went from like, oh yeah, you're a crazy guy, I'm just gonna let you walk out, to like, I know what you're trying to do, motherfucker, it ain't gonna happen. Like, and then that's where it goes into the line of like, that's I have to touch them. It's a feeling.
That's why he's
yeah, so that he can't touch them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, buddy, game changer right there. And that totally because she could know about the strength. It's a whole nother thing to know about the premonitions and to like be able to see the evil.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's you got to see it because it's the perfect, and it's the way she cups her hands together like this, and like, like, I see what you're doing there.
Because I'm thinking about that scene now in the trailer. Everybody like,
and Glass knows he has it, so he could have said something to her. Like,
no, but it's the fact that like, out of everybody, all the danger.
Kevin's just as strong, and he's not chained down. Like,
he's not chained down.
He's the one that you have proof is that strong because he took bullets and bent bars.
Yeah. So no. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's game changer right there.
Yeah, he's the one who's chained. Bruce Willis's character is the one who's chained, and it's so he can't touch. Oh, okay.
That to me, I'm like, yeah, this is the stuff that I put together at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Like, that's me going down the mark. That like you went down
Well, my whole thing is like, if I'm gonna Alex Jones this and do like my first prediction, I have to have evidence. Like this isn't me wildly this is based on what we've actually been shown and what exists in the movies that this is based on. Which that's what's so cool to me is like he can expand it and clearly their powers can grow, but that whole thing of like I thought it was kind of cool that she knew that they had something because she had the lights in the water, but that chain like I was why is he chained down and Kevin is not? That was a running thing through me because I'm like clearly she knows that they have something. And she travels with the lights, too. In that same scene, she has the portable lights behind her. But the chains, to me, I was like, oh, maybe she just knows he's strong. But he's not a violent offender or anything like that. It's the fucking touching. It's that if he touches her, I don't think she's afraid of him getting up and, like, breaking them because he would have a reason to go after them before her. It's touching her, and then he'll figure out my plan because all it takes is one touch. That to me is like the cool part of this.
And that probably leads to the scene where you had mentioned where
she's pulling him out of the water.
She's pulling him out of the water because now he can see all the things that she's okay. And it's like, why are you doing this? Okay, that's deep down the rabbit hole.
That right there, my friends, is my glass theory. So that's how I predict that movie's going to play out. If it ends that way, I truly will be devastated because it means that I can no longer be surprised.
It's not a matter. Like, don't think it is. It's like it's the idea is like it's when you take the time to puzzle stuff out. It's like so we just talked about previously on the show. Like I literally before I started watching Titans because I was trying to puzzle out what Marvel was trying to do with the character. Like they just don't cancel shows like that.
But like I love that theory. Is it crazy to do crazy things to prove a crazy idea?
Because that's the whole point.
Like be honest, if I told you like I got this voice in my head tells me if I kill these 5 girls, I'll get powers, and then I did it, would you be calling the cops or would you be looking up 5 girls that you'd be like, let's just try it?
It's just like 5 girl dolls or people.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's that craziness, and then you're like, yeah, you did crazy things, but you were right. So does that make you crazy?
Because it goes back to the original thing of Unbreakable. Like the fact of the matter is, he was trying.
Unbreakable. I even realized rewatching it this time that's why he did it the way he did because it was a scientific of like if I'm going to do this, I got to try to do it to as many people as possible because that's the only like if I try to do this one by one, it's never going to happen. Yeah. So like that's why he did these mass accidents and stuff, which is like that's absolutely insane. But then you're right. But that was the other thing. I'm like, what if if her family member didn't die in a glass accident, then she's the survivor of a glass accident, which I don't believe because the ages wouldn't line up. But I truly believe
it might be because she might have been younger on the trip.
Because you see the headlines that there are others. So, but I think that is like the perfect loop is that somehow he caused.
Yeah, and that's the idea is that he created his he
created his hero and his villain,
and he created his hero and his villain. But at the same time, the idea is the mastermind is a mastermind. He's not necessarily a hero. He's a villain. He's just he's the catalyst.
And you have such heavy hitters in these roles. Like they did not come into this for this to be a corny movie.
No.
Samuel L. Jackson has been wanting to get back to this role for years. Which, by the way, can I just tell you that bringing back the sideways fro, I love it. Like it is just the best hairstyle ever. But that's why I believe he's in the suit and everything else like that. He's like the world's gonna see me in the best possible version of who I am. I'm going to embrace it, and this is my going out, but my coming out at the same time. Yeah. So that's how I believe those movies, and I truly believe this will be hailed as one of the great superhero trilogies of all time.
I'm definitely for it. I'm just,
I just can't wait to see how much of that stuff, if any of that stuff, is right on. Well, I think the touching has to be.
No, that's like the idea is you brought that up. It's like it's not like as I think through it, as I puzzle through it, and I'm like, wait, he is chained down. And the idea is, that's right. I didn't even think about.
But that's the thing is the secondary powers. She knows about Glass's secondary powers. That's why they medicate him. She knows about Bruce's secondary power. That's why she won't let him touch him. We don't know what Kevin's is. That's why there's nothing there for him. Mm-hmm. Like that, it's too many things. Like you hear hoofs, you think zebras. Like it's that whole thing. Like. There's too many reasons to that because it's unpredictable. But that really reframed that whole scene because I thought that was a scene of just being like, I'm just an innocent guy trying to stop these guys. You're not going to shake my hand, let me go away. To like, I need to know what the heck you're doing because you know that I have power. So shake my hand and like just. It's amazing how like just a second can reframe a scene for you. So.
Now I just pictured how that entire sequence. So now and
that's the thing. He said, "You're not going to shake my hand and walk away." And then that's when Patricia claps. Good for you. because he touched Bruce Willis. Obviously, that's the other thing. It looks like you see the moment where they first realize that each other has powers, because Bruce Willis is trying to stop these cheerleaders from being murdered that he has. Clearly, they fight 3 times based on what I've dissected. But the very first time, the Beast comes whipping down on the ceilings like you've seen, but he picks up this gigantic table and throws it at Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis catches it and gets pushed back. And it looks like that's the moment where, like, Bruce Willis realizes, holy crap, he's like me. The Beast realizes, holy crap, he's like me. And it's like that.
Yeah. But even outside of that, what I realize is how this movie now opens up for me is it's going to start right where Split left off with him tracking down the Beast.
Well, no, have you seen the Split actual alternate ending?
No.
The Split alternate ending is where it picks. The Split like alternate ending is the real ending. Shows him on top of a school looking over the cheerleaders going, they're perfect. So that's literally like him picking the villains that Bruce Willis bumps into him on the street, catches the flash of, and clearly sets them on that path. And then their fight there ends with them diving out of the building that they're in and being overtaken by the police. And that's where they get brought into custody and get taken to her. Yeah. So that's going to be like the opening of that film. But the whole thing of her knowing about his touching power, that to me was like, that reframes everything. Because you can believe that a guy is just kind of strong.
Oh, no. Because even outside of that, now I just thought about the end of Unbreakable, where he's like, "Here,
that's the glass nose."
Glass nose.
He's like, willingly.
He gives his hand willingly, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, oh." Yes.
And the kicker about that, which you don't have to see, is that he doesn't have to touch bare skin, because the guy's just fully gloved hand and everything else like there. So it's not even bare skin.
He's like, because the idea is he's like, here.
So that's the thing. It's like clearly, like, oh, dude, like that. That's what I'm saying. The secondary powers are going to be like the thing people are forgetting about here. That's so cool to me, though, because I love, and that explains the whole Patricia thing of like, good for you, and everything. It reframes that whole opening scene of them together.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's got me super excited. Okay. So needless to say, that'll wrap things up for that. I had to get that out. I hope that I'm right, because if so, that makes for an incredible movie.
It does, because it's the idea, Shyamalan. You don't have. The idea is like the idea with a lot of his films is it's hidden meaning, and so yeah, they're hit and miss films.
I gotta ask, what do you think though about the thoughts on the water, like the body mass being heavier and stuff like that?
Yeah, because no, it's they don't talk. It's always about practicality. So the idea is, why is he strong? Because the idea is so it really comes down to, there was this
even in Unbreakable, it specifies like the body mass thing is proven, because the doctor in the opening scene when he's waking up, he's like, where were you sitting? And he's like, in the passenger, and he keeps going back, like, you're 100% sure you were in the passenger car, like this and that, because where you're sitting, because like everything would have had to have crushed you. So
yeah, well, there's a character that I'm gonna go comic book deep cut from the Wildstorm Image comics called Sublime. And her whole thing was she could change her density. And so the idea is she could go Kitty Pryde, fall through the thing, or she could make herself
Juggernaut unmovable.
Juggernaut unmovable. And so if you go with that, and like one day she was like going out and she tried to kill herself. It's like, I'm going to jump off this bridge, make myself as hard that she was going to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge, make herself as heavy and as most densely as she possibly could, so she could drown and nobody could save her, and her powers didn't work.
Well, like, what kills me about the Bruce Willis thing is like, it's that deleted scene of the weightlifting shows that his strength can go far beyond human limits, but it's as far as he's willing to go, and that's why I love the line by Glass. Like, I found someone that will require your full potential, because it's going to push him beyond limits that he's had. So I think we're going to see levels of their powers that we haven't seen before. And it also explains the whole scene of why he bends the bar, locking the cops in there, because the Beast clearly kills a bunch of cops, because you see him dragging them all and tipping the cop car, and there's bodies littered. Yeah. So it's clearly like, you guys are going to die. Get out of there. Bam, and bends there. But it's just, to me, I'm like, dude, and I realized finally that the rolling out, it's his cape, dude. The poncho is his Superman cape, like, because the scene where he unfurls it out for the, like, I'm like, oh my god, that's a super, like, I can't.
That's his cape.
If I have to go do this, the world is gonna see it. Like, think about it. He chooses to go get that cape, like, to go get that poncho, knowing that, like, this crap is going on, because he's all about protecting his identity. That's why I believe it's going to reveal him forced out to the world. Because even if you didn't get to see his face, you're going to know who was there. By the time this thing works out, you're going to know who the 2 dead bodies in the middle of the freaking thing are. You're going to know who the patients were. Like, the world is going to know they exist. So I'm like, dude, that's setting it up so perfectly to me. But that whole, like, the power thing of, like, her not touching him, that really sent me. At 3 a.m., I felt like I just cracked the Burning Maid. I was like, how am I the only one saying this? It makes so much sense.
Nope, that's
So that to me is just cool. I had to talk about that. I apologize. We had to do it as a separate segment just because it was so deep. But so definitely let us know what you guys think about when Glass comes out January 17th, 2019. Just shortly over a month and a half away. Super excited. As always, check out everything great on the Get Your Geek On Network, our Get Your Geek On YouTube archive, and the Get Your Geek On podcast airing weekly right here on Facebook. I've been Chuck Keywatts.
I'm Robert Dokes.
And that has been my Glass Theory. God, I hope